1 in 2 men, Black men who have sex with men, will have the HIV diagnosis at some point during their lifetime. I cannot remember the stat for women, but it's either 1 in 4 or 1 in 8 women who will also have that same diagnosis. What that means is it's not, and I want y'all to hear me when I say this, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when.
Welcome to the Networking with Michelle podcast, the show dedicated to providing you with life strategies with a little bit of entrepreneur advice. Here we believe in the Jim Rohn quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Hey, good people. Welcome to the Networking with Michelle show. I'm your host, Michelle Gomez, where we discuss life strategies with a bit of entrepreneurial advice. But today we're putting a lot of emphasis on the life strategies. Literally, I'm going to be frank with you. This conversation is explicit, so please be mindful of the environment that you're in while listening to this podcast. And we're talking about HIV awareness, so not just the curse words, but also just talking about sex in general. And I'm really excited about this episode. It's already long. It's already a long conversation. So please keep an open mind and be patient. I'm really speechless. This is a great episode. And without further ado, here we go. Hey, good people. Welcome back to the Networking with Michelle show. Look, I'm excited about this episode. Today's special guest is a good friend of mine, Brittany, aka Flo.
Yay!
And look, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be probably one of the realest conversations that I want to say I might have on this episode. So I hope you enjoy it. But Brittany, welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Brittany Flournoy. I do go by Flo. I am a Dallasite living in Houston. And it's a pleasure to be here. Michelle, thank you for giving me this platform to discuss today's issues.
Much needed, much needed. So what do you do?
Well, by profession, I am a social worker. I work for the county and I'm a medical social worker. And I particularly work with people who are living with HIV and AIDS. So,
okay. Before we get to your day-to-day duties, I guess, what about your education background and how did you get to this industry?
Well, I graduated from the University of North Texas in 2010. I was a double major in behavior analysis and development and family studies. And then I transitioned down here to Houston to pursue my master's in social work. Mm-hmm. So at the University of Houston, go Cougs.
Great school.
Yes. So I transitioned down here in 2011. Completed my program in 2014, so I've been in social work ever since.
Okay. So at that time when you graduated, did you know what area you wanted to study?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So, funny story, I was working, well, once I graduated with my bachelor's, I was like, yes, come on, money. Come on. Come on, opportunities. They're going to be knocking at my door. And I was like, I was ready, but none of those opportunities were knocking. And so I was a little concerned because they were like, oh, you got to pay these loans back, and life hit real quick. And so at that time I was working, I had 2 jobs. I was working as an after school coordinator and for a nonprofit in Denton. And then I was also working as overnight at a drug rehab for teenagers.
Oh, so you went back to Dallas?
I was still in Dallas at this point. This was 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Gotcha.
So during that time where I was working overnight, I would be looking for jobs. And everything that I saw said MSW, which is Master of Social Work. So I was like, I guess I will go back to school, you know? Yeah. I guess I got to go back. And so I started looking at programs, saw one here in Houston. My sister was living in Houston at the time, so I felt like it was a good segue for me to come down and actually start the program. But no, I did not know what social work was, had no clue. I moved down here and didn't even know I was accepted into the program Crazy thing was I didn't get my mail forwarded. And so my mom, I was driving to work one day and I got a call from the academic advisor at U of H, and she was like, do you still want to come here? I was like, yes, ma'am. She was like, we've been trying to get in contact with you. I was like, I didn't get my mail forwarded. She's like, girl, we about to boot you.
Wow.
So, yeah, I got a personal call. Yeah, he was like, hey, you need to get on up in there.
Yeah.
So I found out in about 2 months after I had moved to Houston that I was actually accepted into the program. Okay. Usually, if you don't respond by a certain time, they go to the next person. But I got a call.
Cool.
So I think God put me in social work. He made social work, for me. Social flow and social work, they all go together.
Okay, and we'll get to social flow later.
Yeah.
As far as your daily, I guess your, what you do, I want to say is very sensitive.
Yeah, it is.
So can you talk about that and how you help people?
Oh, well, briefly, I would like to go into how I got into this job.
Okay.
Into this career.
Mm-hmm.
Rather. Once I graduated from U of H in 2014, at the time I was a bartender and a server at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd taken my licensing exam a few months later, passed. And so I decided okay, now it's time to get serious about actually finding a job. So January came, I was at this crossroads in my life about, I just gotten out of a relationship, a long-term relationship. I just was kind of in this haze. And I knew that God called me to be a social worker at that time. So I just decided I was going to put my 2 weeks in at my restaurant without securing another job, which I don't recommend that for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was what I needed to do at the time. I felt like God was telling me to move. And so I put my 2 weeks in, and I went to the week before my last week at the job. I met a lady who came to the bar for happy hour, and she was just like, hey, I like you. You cool. What, can I come back and see you? And I was like, well, this is my last week, actually, She's like, well, where are you going? Oh, I'm a social worker. I'm about to go do some social working. So she said, well, my job is hiring for social workers. And crazy part is when I put my 2 weeks in, my GM was like, so what you gonna do? Like, where are you going? And I was like, I don't know. But just watch God work.
Mm.
And so when that lady came in and she told me her job was hiring for social workers, I went through the process, talked to the recruiter, submitted my application, and not even a week after my last day, I was hired with the agency that I'm with now.
Yeah.
So it was like, God was like, you go, girl. Like, God, I knew that jump, literally led me to what I'm doing now, which is working with HIV and pregnant women living with HIV. And I didn't know, if you had asked me before I started working at this job, should a pregnant woman with HIV be having a baby? I would say absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? And that's the viewpoint of a lot of people who don't really know about HIV and how it affects you, what the medication and all of that does today to allow miracles like this to happen. So I work with those pregnant women assessing different psychosocial barriers in their lives, whether it be mental health, substance abuse, domestic violence, transportation, any of those things that really affect them, coming to the doctor, getting their medication. Those are things that I look at and try to provide resources and assistance to try to get them to be engaged and involved in their care. So I work for the county, and I am one, if not the only social worker who specifically deals with pregnant women who have HIV. In Harris County, I also kind of have some patients that live in some of the surrounding counties as well. But after that jump from leaving that restaurant, I feel like God put me here for divine purpose. And so I see this as a charge of my life to really impact people. And sometimes it sucks when you're coming from it from a reactive standpoint, when you're dealing with people who have already gotten the diagnosis. And I'm hoping and I'm grateful that this opportunity will allow me to reach other people who maybe have not received this diagnosis so that they won't ever get this diagnosis. It's more based in behavioral things and trauma and all of these things that happen to us on a day-to-day basis, relationships, all of the things that we come in contact with on a day-to-day basis that really leads us to this point.
So are some of these women, is this their first time pregnancy? Like, or what stage are they in when they're finding out that they're HIV or AIDS?
So a lot of these women, it is. I do have some women who this is their first pregnancy, but a lot of the women who have been positive, maybe have had multiple pregnancies. They found out during a previous pregnancy.
Okay.
In the state of Texas, we do what's called routine testing on all pregnant women. So you are pregnant, you go to the doctor, at whatever point you enter into prenatal care, you receive lab work.
Okay.
You get different labs drawn on you, HIV being one of them. The quicker, that's one of the reasons why it's awesome to go to prenatal care early, so that if it is something like this, then we can go ahead and treat you sooner. But sometimes women of minority groups in particular do not enter into prenatal care until it's later. So a lot of my patients at some point found out during a pregnancy, and they were, it's devastating. It's devastating. It's a gray cloud over what should be a happy time in your life, because you're wondering how you were in a monogamous relationship with your long-term partner, and you're wondering, how did this even happen to me? I've had more women who were in monogamous relationships, married, long-term relationships, who tested positive than those that people consider to be floozies or just kind of out there doing their thing. It's more common in, maybe not say that, but I've seen it in my own research where I've seen my patients come in and they've been in these long-term relationships and have tested positive. Whether it had been a history of infidelity or whatever the cause, whatever the case may have been, that they've never been tested, had a previous HIV test before, the partner is not being completely honest about their sexual activity, whatever the case, it really does cause, it's a traumatic time for these women.
Can you provide, the age groups that you usually
The youngest patient that I've had that was pregnant was 17. The oldest patient that I've had that was pregnant was 50. So all ages.
So we kind of talked about mindset earlier. I guess, have you seen, with me stating the age, have you seen a difference, versus older and maturity and life experiences versus I'm going to just kill you? Because I know me. I'm like, look, I'm ready to go to jail.
Right now. Actually, no. I find that the youngest patient that I've had actually had a really good support system. Her story is mad sad. It really is. She was sexually abused and acquired it at the age of 3 or 4, and so did her mom, and so did a sister. And so that that situation is still pretty fresh for me, but it was crazy how, and kind of mad inspirational how they've coped with it, you know. Consider, because I mean, you may get somebody who was 20, 22, 23 come in, and you know, she was with a boyfriend and then they broke up and she went and did her thing and had a little fling, and she may have gotten it like that and was devastated. But if you hear about this child who was sexually abused, then you may realize, oh, well, you know, maybe it's not as bad. It's bad, but it ain't as bad as
like we tend to excuse that situation or that person versus someone that's hypersexual.
Right. But the stigma still exists.
Right.
And even if you didn't know the story behind it, if you knew that the person had the disease or the diagnosis, then you may already have your preconceived notions about what that person did to you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Based on your own beliefs and what you've seen. That's one thing that I have to assess in the beginning when I meet with my patients is, what do you know about HIV? Tell me, you know, what your culture says about HIV.
Yeah.
I have a lot of patients from Central America, from Africa, that you talk about HIV, you talk about the inability to be able to breastfeed, your family is looking at you like, what you got? What's wrong with you? You can't breastfeed? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know? Even in our culture, the messaging that we have about breast is best, and that's United States, about breastfeeding. You look at these women and the recommendations is not for them to breastfeed because that is a mode of transmission to the child. And you think about that and what that messaging is saying. So then when they go into the WIC office and they try to get it up and they like get their formula, get all their benefits set up, and they're telling you to breastfeed, but you know that you can't, you know? So a lot of things about what does your culture say about HIV? What do you know? Who knows about it? Who have you disclosed to? All of those things play a part, because even though I've seen a patient who was diagnosed and she's now married to someone who's HIV negative. She had family who was in the medical field who were like, oh girl, just take your medicine. You'll be fine. You know, had a good coping system and support system. And it wasn't until she got around other women who were also pregnant and also positive where she was able to come to a new level of self-awareness within her own diagnosis. So it's levels. It's levels to it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because I would like to think my family would support me and or have that empathy with me, but it's going to take another pregnant woman, preferably me, Black woman, right? Or a woman of color, pregnant, HIV positive, to really, you know, share to connect and share their struggle.
Yeah, we have I've realized that support and safety are two of the most important things. If say, for instance, my patient finds out during their prenatal visit that they are HIV positive, and I talk to them about, well, does your partner know?
Yeah.
Has your partner been tested?
Yeah.
All of those different things. A lot of times I'm assessing safety, because if you're scared to tell that person, maybe there's some domestic violence going on. Yeah. And I need to make sure that you're going to be safe first. Secondly, support is who knows, because you can feel like you're on an island. You're constantly anxious about, does my child have it? These doctors and these social workers are telling me that I'm taking this medicine, but my baby is inside of me. How is this not being transmitted to my child when what I eat is what my child eats? And, you know, all of these different things. But that placenta is really what keeps it from transmitting in utero. Sometimes it can happen in utero, but not if you're on medication. We typically can stop that from happening. So all these different factors that come into place, but those two really kind of get into the meat and potatoes of how does a patient, do they feel comfortable with telling someone this information? Because a lot of times family, man, they're not the ones you tell, because you gonna tell your mom, she gonna tell her sister, you know, the auntie tell the cousins, everybody don't want to drink after you.
Social media, pray for my
listen, making Facebook posts, pray for my cousin. All of that, like, it's horrible. It's horrible, and a lot of times, my patients have faced betrayal
already
at the hands of their family.
Yeah. So
they don't trust nobody.
Yeah, I kind of want to shift it a little bit, just a little bit, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I know my demographic.
Yeah,
they're thinking I'm a African American young professional.
Yeah.
Educated.
Yes.
Masters.
Yes.
Six figures. You know, got a side business.
Yeah.
You know, tall, dark, and handsome. You know, pretty girl strut, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't going to happen to me.
Oh.
I know when I was in my 20s, I know I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing.
All of us would.
And I just thought I was invincible.
Yes.
And then I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure someone's like, okay, I got all of this going on.
Right.
I got men lining up to take me out on dates. I can have any woman I want. You know, someone that is seeing a social worker, they're in a low economic, demographic, psychographic, however you want to, like, that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell us, when should we get tested?
Oh, Lord. I mean, I want to say, baby, it is you, though. It is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that person you just described. I mean, minus the 6 figures. We're working on that, Jesus. But that is you.
Mm-hmm.
The 24 to 35, I believe, age demographic is the highest affected, most affected. African Americans. Oh, baby, we blowing stats out the water when it comes to this HIV. Let me just tell you, honey. And I'll say this. Today is March 10th. And today is actually the National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day. Look it up. It exists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a campaign that is targeted primarily to women and young girls, just to increase awareness. So this question is so timely because women, particularly Black women, are one of the most affected subgroups of HIV. Just some stats for you. From the CDC, 2016, Black women, no, let me start with Black men. Let me talk about y'all first. Black men who have sex with men. Now, let me just break this down. Because if you're not in public health and you're not in the medical field, you maybe have not heard this term before. But it is called MSM. Okay? Men who have sex with men. Now, typically we'll say, oh, you gay. No. A lot of these men who have these sexual relationships with men do not consider themselves to be gay. They just consider themselves men who have sex with men. So I asked the question to my partners, to my patients' partners, when, you know, do you have sex with women, men, or both? And I give my answer. You know, when's the last time you had sex with a man? When's the last time you had sex with a woman? So you're looking at men who have sex with men can be, and I'll use gay or bisexual. Okay? They account for, and this is Black men. 2016, they had over 10,000 new HIV diagnoses. Men who have sex with men of all demographics account for 70% of new cases of HIV. Okay? So Black women who are heterosexual, meaning we only have sex with men, account for about nearly half of the total diagnosis of Black men who have sex with men. So we only have sex with Black men or men, and we account for half of that total diagnosis. Okay?
Ooh,
it's heavy. It's heavy, honey. I'm trying to tell you. It's heavy. Black people, whether you male or female, account for 44% of all new HIV diagnoses. That was 2016. That's the latest date. We only in 2018. They ain't done 2017 yet. So you think about that 29-year-old African-American female with her master's degree, single, dating, maybe have her, little situation on the side, that takes care of things for her. And then dating other guys. It is very prevalent, natural, common that at some point you will come in contact with a male who has HIV. And if you're not using condoms and you have sex, then you will have an HIV diagnosis. This is the scary part. This is what I tell my friends. 1 in 2 male, this is, I think the CDC put this out, 1 in 2 men, black men who have sex with men, will have the HIV diagnosis at some point during their lifetime. I cannot remember the stat for women, but it's either 1 in 4 or 1 in 8 women who will also have that same diagnosis. What that means is it's not, and I want y'all to hear me when I say this, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when.
Lord have mercy.
Y'all, black people and HIV is an epidemic at this point. It is something that we are not talking about. We're not having the hard conversations. Any dude I talk to, I ask them when's the last time they've had an HIV test. I tell them where to go to get an HIV test. I'm not playing with you, sir. I talk very fluidly about this topic because it's something that I do daily. And I get so tired of seeing women who look like me, who are my age, come into my clinic. And it's not something that, this is a very preventable diagnosis. The CDC states, just put this out within the last couple months, that if you have a positive diagnosis, if you know that you're HIV positive, if you are on your medication, you're undetectable, you're consistently undetectable, meaning that your viral load is less than 20, meaning that you're at the lowest point of transmission to your child, your partners, whomever, then you will not transmit this diagnosis to anyone else. So all of the people, but the issue is not, it is people who know their diagnosis and who maybe are not consistent with their treatment. Yes, but it's the people who don't know that's causing all of the new infections. It's the people who have not had a test. So if you ask when should you get tested? Today, if possible. You need to get tested every 3 months. Every time you change your sex partner, you need to be getting tested. It needs to be, if y'all going to Ocean Air and State 48, Seasons 52, wherever you're going, Del Frisco's, Cheesecake Factory, Papado, wherever you're going, y'all need to also be going to a clinic and getting tested. Y'all, it is something that is affecting us disproportionately because we are not having the conversations that need to be had.
I want to back up a little bit.
Come on, yeah.
Several years ago, it doesn't even matter when, but I've had conversations with my friends and I'm like, you need to ask this brother. Well, let me back up. They're like, well, I don't know. Like, I can't figure him out. And I don't know if he's gay. And I was like, well, you don't need to ask him if he's gay. You need to ask him if he slept with men before.
Yeah.
And there's so many women, so many of my friends are like, I can't ask him that. He'll slap the shit out of me. And I'm like, you need to ask him.
Yeah.
And I'm not promoting abuse.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you need to ask. Especially nowadays. You need to ask.
So like, once again, this is a good looking brother that, you know.
Fine, come on my clinic.
Not the clinic.
Clinic, girl. I'm like, no. Not you. Hey. No,
but there's, I'm just saying, there's sisters that are afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Like, we can't even, there's part of it's, when's the last time you got tested, or we should get tested or whatever. And then there's the other part, like, who are you having sex with or disclosing that sexual history?
Right. Think about it like this. Sorry. The stigma. You know, Black people, boy, we love some stigma. We love to judge some folks, okay? We love to talk about, she doing what with who? I heard he was this and that. Mm-hmm. Whatever. We love to perpetuate those stereotypes, those whatever, that gossip. But the truth of the matter is, and I'll simplify it a little bit, and then I'll back up and I'll address what you say. My homegirls have told me about condoms. When we talk about condoms. Mm-hmm. Girl, you got condoms? No. Why? I don't have a penis. What that mean? It's getting inserted in something getting inserted into you. Like, that is your responsibility, your health, your flower, you know? That's your cookie jar. You just gonna let anybody stick their little dirty hands in your cookie jar without washing them? Are you kidding me? No, ma'am. So I tell them this is something that is your responsibility just as much as kids. Yeah. When we don't have these conversations, we don't know how to have them. Nobody taught us how to have these difficult conversations. It even makes me uncomfortable sometimes when I talk to guys about just sexuality. And if you and a mom, you think this man fine, you want to give him some, whatever the case, you're not worried about who he slept with, right? Or what his sexual behaviors are. You're not worried about that. You're just trying to get yours. But if you're going to get yours, at least get your protection too. Mm-hmm. At least make sure that you're protecting yourself, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to deal with the diagnosis. If it is syphilis or gonorrhea or chlamydia or HPV or herpes or whatever the case may be, that is going to be your diagnosis. So you might as well take responsibility for your sexual health. And that starts, we have to deal with the stigma of, oh, well, if I have condoms, he's going to think I'm a hoe, or he's going to think I've been sleeping around. And if you are, don't change the fact that you're protecting yourself. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. If you have multiple sexual partners in a year, it doesn't, everybody want to worry about body count and all of that stuff, but are you protecting yourself? Right. Because what I've seen people who had sex with one person and got HIV, and some that got 50 and don't. Nothing. I've seen them both. So it's not even a matter of body count. It's about, are you protecting thyself? Are you protecting your health? Because that's what matters. So homegirl, girlfriend that's just like me, you need to be getting tested often. Mm-hmm. Sexual partners change, get tested. You don't at least know when your last negative test was. If you had a negative test in 2017 in June, you definitely need to get you tested every 3 months, every time you change sex partners. So, and it's just good to know. It's just good to know your status. It's so many of my patients who now have a diagnosis who never had an HIV test before. And so that is that we need to know that information, because that may affect how long you've actually had and how many people you've come in contact with since, all of that. So get tested. Y'all go get tested. There are some clinics that you can do it for free, that are all over. You literally can Google free HIV testing locations in Houston, Harris County. It literally takes 20 minutes. You get pricked on your finger. Or you do a mouth swab, particularly when you need to get the blood needs to be drawn. You need to get somewhere where they can draw some blood now. Go to the doctor now. Black folks don't like to go to the doctor. Y'all take y'all behind to the doctor. Now, get your physicals and stuff. Use that dang on insurance you're paying for it.
Right.
Get your stuff done. Because it's not a joke out here.
What?
I'm animated, y'all. Y'all have to forgive me.
No, you gotta make this topic fun. Because I know someone's probably like,
yeah, they were like, what? They got nothing to do with me. You know, and it's crazy that you would think about that even in a marriage, man. Y'all, I've seen so many people who are married who come up positive. Husband stepped out, you know, got a little something on the side, couple little somethings on the side, maybe a dude, who knows? And came back to the wife, you know, they don't use condoms. What I'm married, what I gotta use condoms for? You know, that's why I got married. I don't have to use condoms. But if you know that you sneaking and freaking out here in these streets, do yourselves a favor. Either use protection or you need to get tested. Like, because I've seen so many instances of this that it scares me about marriage in general, where you're like, shoot, you know, at least if I'm single, I know who I'm coming in contact with. I'm not, my guards are up. I'm defensive about my health, because when you get married, you feel like, well, I shouldn't have to. Why I got to worry about you doing all this?
Right.
But y'all, it's like I said, it's not a matter of if anymore. It's a matter of when. And these cases are not going away. These diagnoses are not going away. We constantly are getting new diagnoses every year. And like I said, it does affect Latino and white folks and, you know, other populations, just not as much. But not as much as black folks, y'all. Yeah.
Why do you think it's because we've been seen as this hypersexual being from back in the day? Like, you know, black women are thick. Well, both well endowed.
Right. Right.
Both.
Right. Very much. So, very much. No, I think that it's so systemic. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, go all the way back to Tuskegee syphilis study. Mm-hmm. Black people don't trust doctors. They don't trust healthcare. It's about access to healthcare. We ain't just go to the doctor like that when something was wrong. You know, it's not a part of our culture. It's about religion. You know, it's about, you know, these same folks go to church. They be at the church, y'all. These dudes at the church too, y'all. Don't think they just at the club. They at church too, serving the Lord. You know, we're not having the difficult conversations. We're not having them with our homegirls. Mm. We're not having them with our family members. Parents ain't having them with their kids.
But people are not ready. Like when I was growing up.
When you gonna be ready?
When I was growing up, my dad, he came home with, let me back up. Okay. We're going to keep it all the way real.
Yeah, let's do this.
When I was living with my mom, mm-hmm. I suffered sexual trauma. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I already had that. Okay. Then I went to go live with my dad. So that was an adjustment dealing with men. Okay. And now you're my father and all this dominant thing. Right. Okay. So he comes home one day, hands me some brochures, STD, HIV brochures. Mm-hmm. He's like, read it and we'll talk about it later. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like 12, 13 years old. So I go through those brochures. A couple of days later go by. He's like, all right, let's talk. I was like, okay, cool. You know?
Were they even child age appropriate, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I had the drawings and it was like, I was traumatized because I don't want none of my genitals to look like, I don't want nothing coming out that ain't.
That ain't pretty.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. But this was the conversation. You read the brochures? Yes. Yes, sir. So you know what happens if you have sex? Yes, sir. Okay.
Did.
Okay. Okay.
I would say that's more than a lot of people get to hear. Unfortunately, it's more than what at least you saw was in human growth and development.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember we learned about some sexual health type stuff. But it was in school. I started, my puberty started, while I was in 5th grade. Yeah. And I didn't really understand my body. Yeah. Things were changing, things were happening. I was one of those, I wasn't promiscuous, but because I developed so quickly, I got a lot of attention. And I thought it was good. So, and then I went to a middle school where people were already having sex. Even in elementary, 5th, 6th grade, people was having sex. And we're not, people are like, oh, they're just a child. Right. They don't know. Yes, they know. And what bothers me, this is my issue with pornography. Because a lot of kids get their sexual education from porn. Now, one time, you name me one, and I'll go look at it. Now, one time have I ever seen somebody putting on a condom in a porn? Not one time. And when you think about what you're seeing, what you're being conditioned to see when you're 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, your older brother, whoever, they watching porn, and you never see someone putting on a condom, and you never see a discussion about what happens. You just see straight fucking, sorry, mama, sorry. Yeah. But you see this, and you think that is what it's supposed to be. Yeah. So we're not having these conversations with our kids, with our with parents. Parents don't know how, because they learn from those methods. They learn from trial and error, and they learn from after having kids. And I had a patient who her child was of age to have this conversation, and she was afraid, and she had HIV. So you just think about, like, well, damn, what else do you need? What else? But it literally is, it's like learning to drive a car. It takes practice. And you can't just throw somebody behind the wheel and expect for them to just know what to do. So we have to have these conversations. It is difficult. It's uncomfortable. But with time and practice, you have to. Because what's happening is our kids are getting younger, and they're getting these diagnoses. They're growing up faster. Yes. We have 13-year-olds that have HIV. We have, 13. HIV ain't going nowhere no time soon. We ain't got no cure for it.
That's crazy.
And you think about their generation actually, think about it like this. Let me just ask you personally. When you think about HIV, what do you think about?
I think someone caught it because someone had promiscuous behavior. And it's a lifelong illness. You can, no cure, but it can be managed. And hopefully you have the money, overall resources to manage it.
So, first thing you said was you being promiscuous. And you got the shit.
Someone,
somebody, somewhere.
It's being with someone,
Yes. And there are different modes of transmission.
Correct. That's correct.
Intravenous drug use. You can get it. You can be perinatally infected, which means your mom had it and you were born with it. Breastfeeding. Blood, semen, bodily fluids, stuff like that. I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one. I'm sorry, y'all. But there are about 5 ways that you can contract HIV. A lot of it is behavioral, meaning, we're using condoms, you were drug use, or, all of those different things. So I see it as behavior. And everybody has, they said, certain populations at risk, just like at-risk youth, at-risk behavior. Things that you're conditioned to do, maybe because you don't know an alternative. So, or you haven't been taught an alternative. So, yes, to me, as a person who's been in this field for 3 years now, 3+ years, I see HIV as being easier to manage than diabetes. to me, diabetes is a lot more difficult.
I can see that. Yeah.
All I gotta do is they down to 1 pill a day.
Mm-hmm.
You taking 1 pill a day. For diabetes, you gotta
watch what you eat.
Watch what you eat. Lose weight. You gotta get your feet checked.
Yeah.
It's so much more.
And don't mess up. You gotta amputate that foot when you're older.
Listen. And diabetes is a chronic disease as well as HIV. They're both chronic diseases. But people will say, oh, why? If somebody say, well, how'd you get diabetes? They're not going to judge you the same way they judge you if you got HIV.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it is about normalizing it. And it's also about educating people to know that this is preventable. This is behavioral. If you develop better behaviors as far as if you can't prevent certain things. You can't prevent sexual assault. You can't prevent certain traumas that happen. But what can you do to cope with them so that they're not manifesting in a negative way, where you are then becoming promiscuous or you are turning to drugs or something like that? Because a lot of my patients have a history of sexual trauma too that occurred in childhood or adolescence. And those things kind of perpetuated and manifested into something that caused them to be in these bad relationships with guys that were abusing them and cheating on them and all of that. And here we go.
I want to say, I don't know. I want to say this might be my last question on this topic. I mentioned this earlier. You know, now that I'm getting older, it's kind of like, okay, Michelle, would you date someone with an STD, herpes, HIV, and I don't know, things are just different, you know, now that I'm older and I'm starting to consider things that, you know, in my 20s, hell no. Why would I? I'm evolving now. Like, we all have a past.
Right.
But, you know, maybe there is someone that does have HIV or they're dating, or I don't want to say the pool is shrinking, but, you know, let's just be real about the situation. Yeah. Should we, like, how should we approach someone, friendship or intimate relationship, when this person does confide in me that they are HIV positive?
Well, hopefully they do it before you're sexually active with that person. I think a big thing that I tell my patients when we talk about disclosure status is you didn't have the option to choose whether or not you wanted to live with this. So your civic responsibility is to get to a place where you feel comfortable sharing it enough where you give someone that option.
Right.
Because that is the hardest thing. Where you so selfish and you ain't dealt with it enough and you in denial, where you're like, man, she get it. We just gonna be in this thing. Or I don't know my own status. Yeah. So I'm just out here, you know, screwing every Jane, June, you know, whoever. So, and Jack. I got no Jack in there now. So I would say it's definitely doable. It's doable because where we are now is HIV is no longer a death sentence anymore. We grew up in the 80s and the 90s where people was dropping like flies. This used to be a top 10 cause for people dying in 2000. You know what I mean? Literally 18 years ago. Nowadays, like I said, we have 1 pill a day. It's about having those conversations about how does this affect me? You know, making sure that you're educating yourself on, are you going to the doctor? You're taking care of yourself. You see him taking his medication every day. You know, he's sharing his lab work with you or her lab work with you. There's a beautiful thing called PrEP. I would be remiss to not inform you all of PrEP. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. Basically, it is a 1 pill a day. It is for at-risk types of behavior. So it's targeted towards that. But if anybody who is in a relationship with a person who is HIV positive, you as the HIV negative partner can take a pill every single day, like they take their pill every single day, and it will prevent you from getting HIV. It is so awesome. A lot of, I know friends in school who, I know friends that are on PrEP, who are men who have sex with men. They're on PrEP and it's not a substitute for a condom. Okay, it is still to be used in conjunction with a condom, but it provides the prophylaxis in your body to reduce the transmission. But like I said, CDC is putting out information that if the person who you're with is consistently undetectable, their viral load is suppressed, then they will not transmit HIV to you. So the best thing that if you are with someone who is HIV positive to do is for them to make sure that they are consistently taking their medication. They're going to the doctor and they're monitoring their viral load. It's doable. I have patients who are in what the positive-negative relationship is called serodiscordant. That those relationships, and they've had multiple children. You got to have unprotected sex to have multiple children, you know? And so with that, as long as that patient the woman is taking her medicine, it's cool. It's cool. We'll get to a time, it'll become so prevalent. This is good and bad. It'll become so prevalent in our generation, in our lifetime, that if you don't know somebody with HIV, you will. You will. And not only is it something that we need to start the conversation if we're not having it with our sex partners, with our friends, with our families, with the community at large, with, everything. We need to be having these conversations so that we can feel comfortable when this comes up, because it'll come a time where it does come up. And we don't want to be ignorant to it. And this is another fact that I saw worldwide. In 2000, 1.5 million people died from HIV and AIDS. And then in 2015, 1.1 million people died. So that's only 400,000 people in 15 years. But you think about, and this is worldwide, this is, Africa, all the different countries that don't have the access to healthcare that we have. Think about the fact that this is a completely manageable disease at this point. It's completely preventable. It's something that if someone has HIV, they do not have to continue to spread it. So if you know somebody, take your kids. Don't sit there and assume, oh, my baby in high school, they're not having sex. Yeah, probably are. They probably are. And probably is a good majority of those children who are sexually active, who are using drugs, who will have an HIV diagnosis at some point. So, y'all, I'm over here. I got Michelle shook. I got her shook, y'all. But I'll tell you this. We can't stop HIV. We can't stop no new cases of HIV. We just got to talk about it. We really do. We really have to have these conversations. And like I said, I'm glad that today is a day that we as women are bringing awareness to this issue in our communities, how it's affecting us as women and as Black women and as young Black women and as in the group, women that have the highest instances of HIV transmission cases, new diagnosis. So I feel like it was one more thing I needed to say, but I can't remember what it is at this point. So yeah, it'll come to me eventually. But yeah, that's you can be with someone who is HIV positive. Yes, you can. And not have HIV. Yes, you can. I feel like Barack Obama.
Girl, you giving people hope.
No, you can.
I don't think that bothers me so much, right? I think what bothers me is I wonder if I'm all about sexuality. I'm all about creating safe spaces for people, right? Which usually we think about is LGBTQ when it comes to that, but AIDS patients or HIV patients could be, that needs to be a safe space too, right? Yeah. So I guess my thing is, in my mind, I'm wondering if men that slept with men, if they were just openly gay or bisexual, would that minimize some of our heterosexual women being transmitted? So that's what's in my mind right now. And if you want to speak to that, you can.
Okay. Oh, so yeah, I think a lot of the conversations that are being had are still laced with some judgment. A lot of men don't really feel comfortable telling their heterosexual woman that they have had a history of having sex with men. That brings about, well, you gay with them. And they may not associate with that term. They may be a six-figure person who got a good, great job, has, a good life and good things going for them, and they just like to have sex with men. That's how they see themselves. But it's difficult. So you have to add, if you're ready to know that information, be ready to receive what comes back. Because I don't think a lot of men are having those conversations with their homeboys and men in their life enough to feel comfortable with saying, this is what I do. So I don't think a designation of any sexual preference will reduce this. I think it is just taking accountability for your own sexual health. If you choose to have partners of the same sex and the opposite, that you will protect yourself, that you will use condoms, that you will get on PrEP if you know that you're sexually, having sex with men or whatever, that you will take those steps to reduce it in your own way. Because literally one person making some behavioral changes in their life can literally change the trajectory of so many. If that one man who knows that he gets drunk and takes their booty bump, that's when they put meth up their butt so they won't have to feel it numbs their butt, but it's called booty bumping. But they gonna do that on Thursday nights. And they gonna do that on Thursday nights, and then they take their girlfriend or they date out, Friday, Saturday, try to have sex with her, but at no point in time have they used a condom. Just using a condom could prevent that from happening, So it's I don't think it's the designation of a particular preference or saying, hey, I am gay or hey, I am bisexual that will change that. I think it's taking accountability for your own sexual health and doing behavioral changes that will make you and your partner safe.
Yeah, you're absolutely right when you break it down like that. I guess my thing is, once again, going back to what you stated earlier, it's like, don't rob me of that choice. Right. So if you are HIV positive, and we are dating, like, you should disclose that. So I'm trying to think to the point if more men could disclose that.
I think people
and then me as a woman, I can decide if I want to.
Right. I think people in general need to. You have to know your status in order to do that. Firstly, so
that's true.
Get tested.
Yeah.
If you feel uncomfortable, get tested together. Try to know your status, and if you are positive, then let someone know before you become sexually active with them. And a lot of times people, I just gotta be real. People, they don't disclose everything. They don't always tell everything because of rejection and fear and stigma, all of those different things. So If you are positive and you have not come to a place of acceptance, then you definitely need to get in somebody's therapy, counseling, get access to some type of support group, something that will help you learn how to cope and deal with the diagnosis, because it literally affects how you change, how you perceive what you're working with, your grit, your resiliency. Do you have this victim's mentality versus a survivor's mentality? All of those different things. So it's difficult. Like it's similar to cancer, and I'll say this in a sense. Like sometimes some cancers are behavioral. You may get lung cancer if you smoke a lot. If it's in your whatever. Yeah. But no one will shame you for smoking cigarettes. Right. But if you stop smoking cigarettes within a week, you reduce your risk of developing lung cancer by half. So it's crazy, and sorry y'all if that's not a career, but I know it's very tremendous the impact if you stop smoking. So it's all behavioral for me to look at how we have sex, the conversations that we're having. And I do want to say this, the difference between HIV and AIDS. So, because some people are like, oh, you have AIDS. No, HIV causes AIDS. HIV is human immune deficiency virus. Basically, it's a virus that attacks your immune system. When you have AIDS is acquired, which means that it happens after birth. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So AIDS comes about from having the HIV virus. One or two things causes AIDS. Your CD4 count, which is your white blood cells, your fighter cells, the blood cells that fight off infection. When that count goes below 200, then you're getting the diagnosis of AIDS. Some people at their first test will have AIDS because that number. AIDS is also indicative of the presence of other what's called opportunistic infections. So you may have certain cancers that are caused by HIV. You may have different things, but I think one is called KS. You can have cytomegalovirus. It's a lot of different little infections that happen. If they're present along with the HIV, then you will have the designation of AIDS. So AIDS can come about if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not on medication. But you can have the HIV virus and not have AIDS. So AIDS literally is what scares people. You can die from complications of AIDS, but it should not be that way. This is not the 80s and 90s no more. It's not a death sentence anymore. People are living long, healthy lives. They're having children that are HIV negative. They are former basketball players and stuff. Magic Johnson, shout out to him. He's been in the game for a minute.
Changing the narrative.
He's changing the narrative, and his wife does not have HIV. So it is possible. It's possible. So.
You have such a heavy duty job. How do you find balance?
Man, so social flow is my alter ego. I started a business a few years back where I found that this stuff is heavy. People's souls and their problems is super heavy. And so I needed an outlet. And I really love bartending. So I was doing mobile bartending through social flow. And now I'm actually going through this transition in my life where I'm like, okay, is this still what I want to do? What do I want this to become? So I'm actually in the process of revamping social flow to encompass more of what I like, the social aspect of things. I love being a connector and bringing people together for a purpose. I love entertaining and making people laugh and helping people discover their purpose. And so social flow is changing. So for those who have supported me and been consistent, been riding with me, asking me what's going on with social flow, she's changing. She's becoming a butterfly. So we're cocooning right now. We're cocooning, but it is being revamped. So just, follow me. I love to travel. I love to try new things. And so all of those things that bring me joy outside, they bring me balance along with what I do are what I'm turning social flow into. So
stay tuned.
Good things coming, y'all. Good things are coming.
Okay. What else? What else is there in general?
Your girl's out here dating, so the dating life is very, very interesting. It's a process, but it's fun. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm teaching my friends who are also dating to learn to enjoy this process. Enjoy this time to self-reflect and to become more self-aware of what you like, what you don't like, all of those different things, becoming more in tune with self. I'm enjoying this time frame, my friends, my family, that keep me balanced with when I start freaking out about not being in a relationship, but knowing that I am the longest relationship I'll have is with myself. So, hey, I gotta learn to love what I see. I gotta be okay with me before I have somebody else. Can't put that on someone else. So I'm growing. I'm growing. I'm changing. I'm learning. I'm embracing new opportunities such as this, putting my voice out there, what I do, what I'm passionate about, all of that. So, yeah, good stuff is happening. I'm happy.
Is it hard to date in Houston?
Well, no. I mean, it is if you're not open to unconventional ways of dating.
What the hell does that mean?
Meaning, I do date online. I do meet guys that from different dating websites, and a lot of my friends haven't gotten to that point yet where they're like, it's not as creepy as
right. Well, I think it's normal now.
I think it's normal too. If you asked me 5 years ago, I'd be like, ew. You can't get nobody in real life.
You date outside your race?
I haven't yet, but I want to. I'm open to that. I really am. I mean, do I want to marry me a strong black man? Absolutely. But I have not. If I give me a Jake or a Julio, I ain't mad at that either. So that's just a part of my development. I'm learning to. I don't want to limit myself, but based on what I think I want. I'm learning to embrace new things, new possibilities, new opportunities, and hope that good comes from those.
I'm sure it will.
I hope so too.
I'm sure it will.
Girl, trying to sprinkle this magic, this black girl magic all over the airwaves. So, but no, I'm truly ecstatic, and like I said, I'm very grateful to talk about this particular topic.
Yeah, thank you so much.
With you, and I hope that the listeners have learned something about HIV. I can take one takeaway from it, and I'm happy that.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I know we chatted on Facebook a couple of months ago, whatever. But I didn't even when we were chatting, I'm like, yeah, it's Flo. She cool, whatever. We got here, we'll wrap it up.
Girl, put me on the podcast. Let me know.
And then even the other day when we followed up, I was like, I said like HIV awareness. And even then it was just so casual.
Right.
And then it's just like, okay, when I got here, I'm like, dang, no, we really need to talk about it. And, I'm not going to really go through a lot of my experiences in the past, but, I've seen some things, I feel like I've been fortunate not to be a participant or a victim of those things, but to see friends like, oh,
yeah,
shit's real.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I got to learn from my friend's mistake.
Right.
And I was like, all right, so that's where I'm at. And I had a family friend pass away from HIV/AIDS in hospice. And he was an older gentleman, but it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Get your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get your life.
Nobody asked for this. Nobody said sign me up for this lifelong commitment. And nobody asked for it. Even when we talk about, my pregnant patients, you have to take medication for your pregnancy, but you're also going to have to take it
for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life. And it's kind of like, what? I only been with this dude for 8 months, and you tell me I gotta be committed to this virus for the rest of my life. It blows their minds. It blows my mind. I've had patients that's been diagnosed with HIV longer than I've been alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to put things into perspective, I'm 29. It's patients of mine who've had it for 30 plus years. It's not an old disease. Yeah. It's not. It's literally origins in the early 80s. Yeah. And so we may be looking at under 40 years. Yeah. Right at 40 years.
Yeah, really.
This ain't polio. This ain't hepatitis and, influenza, all these other, viruses and stuff that affect us have been in our history. This is a very young disease. We've made strides in the technology. People were taking a cocktail of 20 pills a day. Because if I had to take 20 pills a day, God would kill me now. I'm done. But to get through that, to see people's resiliency, to get to the point where we literally are down to 1 pill a day, and it's the size of an ibuprofen. It's, if people could understand the history of what it was and now what it is, then it would make it so much more tolerable. But I'm not saying that I want to date someone that has HIV, right? But at the same time, I'm educated enough to know the risk that it is to me, and the honest truth, and this is why I tell everybody that when you lay down with somebody and you decide that you're going to have sex with that person, you are assuming whatever risk come along with that person.
Wait, say that one more time.
When you decide that you want to lay down with somebody and have sex, you're assuming whatever risk comes along with that person. Meaning that you have unprotected sex and you don't know their history. But that's the first thing we get when you come to the clinic is your history. Your mama alive, your daddy alive, did they die, how they die, what about your sisters, your brothers, you smoke, you drink, all of that. We get all of that. So if you don't know someone's history prior to having sex with them, then boo, bang, you may be assuming whatever risk they got. That's just the reality. Just like if you get in a car with somebody, you know they've been drinking, you assume whatever risk comes along with that. You can wish and hope all day. But baby, you just may have an accident. You may be the one to die. So that's the reality. And like I said, that is behavioral. Y'all, stop judging folks about what they got. Like, don't think that just because they look a certain way, that they don't have, whether it be a past or they don't have some whatever trauma that's happened to them, all of that. We know celebrities that are coming out saying they've been affected by sexual trauma. And you're like, what? How? You got money. You got this. You got that. All of these things. But that doesn't matter. It is behavior. And so I'm grateful to see things in that sense. Do I have my own judgments and biases? Yes, we all do. But we have to learn to work through those. And how we work through those is conversation, is being authentic, being genuine, being understanding, being compassionate, being all those icky things that nobody likes to be anymore. Everybody just wants to be right. and that means nothing. Because your version of right and mine are two completely different things. So we just have to get to a place at some point where we can sit around, we can talk about sex, we can talk about shit that is uncomfortable for us, because we as a community, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. And they say, oh, everything is hypersexualized. All they talk about is ass and titties and, in these movies and in songs and everything. But at the end of the day, we are the most technologically advanced generation that the world has ever seen. The access to information is at our fingertips at this point, on our wrist at this point. So it is not an excuse for us to not be having these types of conversations. And we really need to get to a place where we feel comfortable. We gotta get out of our own way when it comes to this. Because if HIV has taught me anything, it don't matter your race, your gender, your socioeconomic status, your educational background, who your parents are, none of that matters. It is a disease of opportunity. It will affect whoever it wants to affect when it wants to affect them. So we just have to be careful. We have to be vigilant. We have to be safe about everything and protect yourself. That's it. After all of that, that's it.
Look, I salute you. I'm all about, I say this, I'm all about having the tough conversations. And I just appreciate you for providing us with the insight, the knowledge, the answers.
Yes.
And I don't know, I might need to release this episode every week. Like,
in case you missed it, I see why am I. Like, let's just talk about this walk in. I mean, we need to talk about it it has to be age appropriate. It has to be to the married woman.
Yeah.
It has to be to the single woman, single man, the teenager, the gay person, bisexual, LGBT community. We have to have these conversations in each subset. Yeah. Breaking it down so we can get this number to zero. Because 10,000 died. That's in the United States. Then 10,000.
And I love us so much.
I love us for real.
And I know hurt people, and we say that on an emotional level. But then when it translates to, this,
health. What I love about healthcare is it is the intersection of culture, of socioeconomic status. I don't care how rich you are or how poor you are. You don't see somebody in the emergency room at the same time in one of them categories. So how black you are, how white you are, how liberal you are, or how conservative you are. Health is the intersection of those things. Because health is going to break down at some point. But we have to understand that despite all of those different factors, we are human at the end of the day. HIV starts with human. 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 And if we get to that, if we get to the essence of, I don't care what you look like, I don't care how much money you have, I don't care. I don't care about any of those things. What I care about is who you are and how you deal with life and how you process information. We will be so much more connected than what we are. I do think sometimes subgroups, subpopulations, and all these different things, Black, MSM, heterosexual, all those things separate us and divide us in a category, but it's strictly for statistical purposes. But I'm concerned about the little Hispanic girl who is being taught, who's being molded to be someone's wife someday, who doesn't understand her own body and how that machismo type of mindset would probably lead her to HIV just as much as the little Black boy who was sexually assaulted by his pastor, who is now having feelings of wanting to have sex with men and not knowing how to deal with that because his mama is in the church super heavy and she wanna, you know, my baby is this, my baby is that, and you ain't gay, but you going and sneaking and freaking and doing stuff that's putting you at risk because nobody ever talked to you about that. Like, all of those different things are human. They are what normalize everything. So I just feel like we gotta have those conversations, and it starts with being aware of our own behaviors and what we do and our biases and how we judge other people. See, everybody got a story, and that's the hardest part of my job is sometimes hearing those stories, because I mean, I've had patients that are refugees who countries were in civil war and were molested and sexually assaulted and all of that. And I mean, it don't change the diagnosis. From the person who was a prostitute. Yeah. It don't change the diagnosis from the person who was a successful white businessman who liked to go to bathhouses. It doesn't change the diagnosis. It's still all the same. So we just gotta talk about it. So if y'all want to book me, I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of my organization. I did not say what my organization is. But I am passionate about public health. I am passionate about women's health and definitely HIV. And so if you feel that you would like to have me come and speak, you can email me at socialflow, SOCIALFLO @yahoo.com, or you can hit me up on Facebook at Brittany Flournoy.
And we'll have those links in the show notes. Once again, Brittany, just thank you for everything.
Absolutely, homie. I think it's like I said, it's so timely, and literally Michelle's face has been like so animated during this conversation, y'all. I wish it was a visual of everything, but no, I thank you for having the platform and having the voice to be able to reach people to discuss not only business but
this life. Yes, this is life. This is life. And a couple of, I forgot what month, but last year I did 2 episodes on sex and relationships. And I didn't get a lot of listens. I was like, oh, they ain't ready. Yeah. They ain't ready. But
they need to be.
I was like,
everybody out here fucking. They all.
I was like, we're expanding, y'all.
Yeah.
And everything's intertwined. Like, we can talk about business all day, but I'm like, you can't chase 6-7 figures out there and then come home and be bankrupt.
Right.
We could have stopped right there.
That is a word. Listen, be emotionally bankrupt, just nothing's there. You know, like you can't. And I think it's all encompassing.
Yeah,
it's holistic. It is. Let's go get this money, but let's be self-aware. Let's be healthy. Not just working out in the gym, eating healthy. Right. That's important too. What about your sexual health?
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Brittany. Like she said, she had me shook. I didn't say much in this episode because my mouth was open the whole time, just shocked with the information that she was providing. Now, I don't think I don't say this enough, but if there's ever a time to share an episode of the Networking with Michelle show, this is the episode, right? If anything resonated with you during this episode, this is the time to share with your family, to have those conversations with your friends. Like, girl, I heard this. Did you know? ... Like, now's the time to have this conversation, right? This is the time to take action. This is the time, if you're at work, to text your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, and be like, hey, we should go get tested, right? Let's go together. like no one's exempt. No one's exempt. And I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to think like, well, I'm married, I don't have to worry about that. There's people that are in monogamous relationships, and this is still happening. This is still affecting us. And I say us as a community. This is not about, well, I'm not trying to get into the gay straight thing. I'm talking about us as a community, as a whole. This is affecting us, and we need healing. We need healing on many levels, and this is just part of it, right? And like Brittany said, this is behavioral. A lot of this can be prevented, and I could go into a whole nother episode about that and my thoughts. But let's protect us. Let's protect myself as an individual, as a human, and let me respect you. If I'm going to, step into this relationship in any capacity, sexual intimacy, whatever you want to call it, whatever the depth level of the relationship. And let's respect us as a community as well when it comes to this. And I just want to encourage you, do right by yourself, do right by your health, mental health, sexual health. I want you to live a good life, prosperous life. I want you to share that life with people that you love. I want you to tell me about your wins, and hopefully I can help you through your losses. And I love you. I believe in you. And thank you for listening. Personal connection leads to an influential network. Thanks for networking with Michelle.